Now let's move on. Let's talk about inside linebackers slash middle linebackers in the draft. Who are your favorite LBs?
This is really tough because we've got Eric Kendricks from UCLA as our #1 inside linebacker. He is so instinctive. He has a really good sense of watching the play unfold and then deciding where he needs to be and the best route to get there. He's very good sideline to sideline. The one big problem with Eric Kendricks is that he's not big. He's not very tall. He's not that hefty at this point. And if you look back at the history of guys who play inside linebacker who don't have that kind of size, you're talking about what? London Fletcher, Zach Thomas, Al Wilson. It's not like a long list.
Lofa Tatupu.
Lofa Tatupu, yeah.
Who had 3 very good years.
Right. So there is that question of, is he suited to play this position long term at that sort of smaller size right now?
So your #2 is Paul Dawson out of TCU.
Right.
A fierce player.
Yeah, he's super aggressive. He also is a little bit on the small size, but he plays with such aggression that it kind of feels like he's 3 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier. The big problem with Paul Dawson is that sort of the rumors echoing through echoing through the NFL
Let's
draft
definitely pass
atmosphere.
these around.
These are totally valuable. Is that he's not a great film guy. He's not that loved by his coaches and fellow players. So there is a question of, are you going to bring this guy in? And if he's not in the right locker room, or if he doesn't have his head screwed on straight, he's going to wash out of the league in 3 years.
So you're saying he shouldn't go to the Raiders?
Nobody should go to the Raiders.
At #3, you've got Stephon Anthony out of Clemson.
Right. So here's a guy who has no size problem. 6'3", 240 pounds.
Like me.
And he ran a 4.5 at the combine.
That's fast for a large
That's
man.
insane. But the thing about Stephon Anthony is that he's a little bit, so he's like the button masher of linebackers, in that you're like, oh, he's doing all this cool stuff. I don't know if he necessarily knows what he's doing. He has a tendency to take the wrong path or read the play wrong or sort of be out of position. You hope those are things that you can teach, but you also sort of say, he hasn't learned them at this point, so are we ever going to see him take that raw physical ability, which is crazy, and turn it into smart, productive play all the time on the field?
I've had enough of you denigrating a Clemson education.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
At #4, a guy who's hard to block, Denzel Perryman from Miami.
Yeah, very, yeah, it's all about the U, obviously. Very stout, very brutal against the run is how I would say. The red flag with Denzel Perryman is that he's not reliable in pass coverage. So, I mean, it's that thing where you say, is he going to get better at that, or is he going to be the linebacker that every third down with more than 3 yards to gain, he's trotting off the field?
Yeah. And rounding out the top 5, Benardrick McKinney from Mississippi State. Real tough defensive unit.
Yes. So where we started off talking about guys who might be too small to play inside linebacker, now we're going in the opposite direction. And the question is Benardrick McKinney too big? He's 6'4", and while that's super helpful for getting in the way of passing lanes and things like that, it also kind of works against him. He's got a very high center of gravity. It kind of throws off his ability to shift his feet and move side to side sometimes. So I don't know. I mean, I guess the lesson is
Brian Urlacher type.
He's a Brian Urlacher is one of a kind, and if you say otherwise, he'll come here and hurt you. So.
Those are Ryan Nanny's top 5 inside/middle linebackers in this year's draft.
I don't know anything though.